Hey there, and welcome to podcast number two, there we go. I named it Exploitation Aaron's B Movie Podcast. So, what we're going to be talking about in here is Black Friday. Did I get anything on Black Friday? Well, that's kind of coming up. And did I, when we talked last, when you listen to this, hopefully you've watched the video before this, when I talked about the Vinegar Syndrome sale. Hopefully you partook in that sale. What exactly did I end up getting after all? I did mention a lot of titles that I wanted to get. Obviously, I could not get everything, but I'm going to talk about every title that I did pick up, why, the ones that I kind of regret picking up, and I want to talk a little bit about Christmas too, and if you guys are doing your Christmas lists and your ideas, pretty much your Santa things. What I do every year is well, you know what? Find that out when we get to the video. That's coming up right after this. So Black Friday came around, and early on it was a bit of a bust early for me because basically my better half had to work, and then the car had to be put into the shop to have some stuff done with it. Uh, Black Friday money obviously got taken in a lot. I pretty much spent most of my time Black Friday getting stuff for my family. Once I did get it, which was later on in the evening. However, uh, Todd texted me about I think it was like 7 in the morning my time here to let me know that the Vinegar Syndrome sale had gone live. Because whichever one was found out first had to text the other and tell them. So he found out before I did. So he was up early and doing that. So let's just check this here and make sure everything's okay. That is my son. So I will be right back. And we're going to talk about what I got from the Vinegar Syndrome sale. We're going to talk about how I do up my Christmas list every year and how it usually gets ignored and I just end up buying the stuff later on myself anywhere on the road. And some other stuff I got coming up. A couple of things that I found, a couple of places that I went on Black Friday, and a couple of things that I did look into. I'll give you like a heads up on a couple of deals that are out there. And we'll talk about some other stuff. So it's going to be a fun, packed episode. And let's do it. Let's get into this whole exploitation Aaron type of thing. Do you guys like to name the podcast? I'm kind of proud of this one. So I still have my other podcast going on. That hasn't gone anywhere. It's just when my kids are over, we'll be working on that one. But right now, I got to talk to my son, and I'll be right back with some tea and a heck of a lot of movie and exploitation talk. So a lot more to come. Be right back, guys. So when I went around to places, I went to Walmart first, and what a bust. Walmart was incredibly. There was nothing there, and we went to like the big Walmart, the biggest one here, and we don't have any of the super Walmarts here. I wish we did. I saw one of those up in Ottawa, which is really cool. They got like produce and everything there. It's really cool, and no, nothing like that here. It was like the biggest one we got. Usually has a lot of stuff. Had nothing. And I don't mean like it was like picked over and there was like a lot of stuff there. I mean like there was nothing there. So total bust on Walmart. Left Walmart and went into to Best Buy. Best Buy was pretty cool. We managed to grab I went in there looking around. There's a lot of stuff I wanted, and that's where I'm going to get into deals because there's a few cool things that were at Best Buy that I got to mention. A couple, none that I picked up, unfortunately. I picked up one thing from Best Buy, which I better have yanked out of my hands and said that's for Christmas, because anything that I got this time right now was for Christmas. Hence me not actually showing them off right here. They'll be in my Christmas haul, but I'll be able to talk about them. So that's what we're going to do. So there's some cool things when it came to Best Buy. If you're a fan of the HBO shows, like True Detective, those shows usually run, like on Blu-ray, run for like $120 type of thing. And here in Canada, they were down to like $23. Vinyl was there as well. and a couple other shows, kind of in that price range, which was really good. Very tempted, but didn't have the cash to grab that. One thing I did grab, because you guys know I like Christmas horror films, so I grabbed Krampus, because that was like one of the ones that I really wanted to have in my collection. I haven't got around to like watching it. Of course I didn't, because you yanked it in my hands. But that was there as well. They had like a lot of the Marvel films there for like fairly cheap, for like for eight or $9. Uh, Sleepy Hollow and like the first three seasons of American Horror Story was there for like was there for like $10. I had all those, so I don't have Sleepy Hollow. I don't have either one of that. I'm gonna pick that up probably. I'm hoping I'll be able to get something on Boxing Day. Right now, we got hit with like stop trying to get caught up money wise with things where we got waylaid with different things. You know, some medical issues and the cat and stuff like that. So we've been trying to catch up on stuff, but so it's going to be kind of a lean Christmas for us here this year. I think we're going to focus mostly on getting the kids stuff, and I got my stuff from my mom and a couple things from him, including Krampus, and went over to Costco. And they had a lot of stuff at Costco. This is where I recommend if you want to get like sets and stuff like that. They have some really good like box sets there for like great prices. I managed to pick up and of course, well, I didn't pick them up. He grabbed both these and said, "I'm getting you these for Christmas." And I didn't expect her to get me anything actually this year, because we were kind of like pairing off on that a bit. So she got me the MASH, the complete collection, the complete TV series. So I'm very excited about that because I really love the show MASH. I watched it growing up, and I remember actually watching, of course, crying my eyes out to the season, to the series ender. You know, farewell, goodbye, amen, and something around that line. And I remember, and so the other show that I really loved when I was a kid, I couldn't believe that was there, was like for $29, probably cheaper in the U.S., and that is the the Equalizer, all 4 seasons. So the MASH got like 256 episodes. Equalizer is 88. I love the Equalizer. Edward Woodward did amazing in that. I like to get like what was the name of it again? I think it was Callahan. The series that he did before that in England, where and it was very much like that same character. You kind of feel like the character from the Equalizer is Callahan after he's retired. Uh, if you guys know what I'm talking about, if you know the series that I'm talking about, then you kind of get that feel that, okay, this is, I can kind of see this being where his character would go afterwards. So it's kind of an unofficial, because it's a different character, but it's got that Edward Woodward feel, because it is that actor, Edward Woodward. Of course, most people know from the original Wicker Man. But I'm a huge fan of The Equalizer. It's a TV series. If you've never seen it, you probably are familiar with the Denzel Washington film. I'm an 80s kid, so I know the series. If you haven't seen it, it's a really good show. There's a lot of fantastic guest stars in it. For horror fans, there's some great guest stars. Even John Shepard from Friday the 13th Part 5, actually, who got to play Tommy Jarvis, he shows up in a very powerful episode of The Equalizer, which I really recommend you checking out. There's some really good Man-in episodes there on The Equalizer. You just gotta kind of get into the missiles. Basically, you got a character that's an ex-spy that quits the agency, quits basically whole control agency that he wants to, that he no longer wants to have anything to do with. And from there, he goes on to basically have his own, like puts an ad in the paper, you know, where basically if there's anything, you know, if there's something wrong, if you need help, and you know that nobody can help you, the Equalizer, and there's kind of like this ad that comes up at the beginning of it. It's got a really good theme song too, so I'm very excited about that. So those are ones like they had a bunch of sets there. They had like $6 Man was there. They had like Looney Tunes, Scooby Doo, just a bunch of them. So it's overwhelming. If you go to your Costco, your local Costco, you check out if you want like get something for the TV lover out there, someone that just wants to get something like that's really cool and for a good price. Definitely check that out. Like a lot of the stuff that you're going to see at an H&V and stuff like that is actually going to be cheaper at Costco. So, you know, I always make sure you comparison shop when you're looking at stuff like that. And now let's get into the good exploitation part of it. let's talk about the Vinegar Syndromes that I ordered, and I'm very excited about. So let's get into it. So basically, Todd texted me, told me, okay, Vinegar Syndrome sales on. Tell me to check it out. Now, if you guys watched my last video, you know that I kind of fluked into seeing the page that had the special editions that were coming out. So I knew like what those were going to be. And the page once it came alive was very similar to what I'd seen, and I kept my mouth shut about it. So hopefully Vinegar Syndrome appreciates that. But I noticed that a couple of the prices were actually a little bit lower on some of them than had been before it got completely live. I knew that the things like Nightmare Sisters and Hobgoblins had actually gone down $1 from when I saw the page to when it actually went live. So that was actually good. But I knew I wanted to focus on getting some of the limited edition stuff that I really wanted, stuff that I didn't want to sell out, basically, because I missed out on getting the Blu-ray edition of Runaway Nightmare, and I missed out on getting actually the Blu-ray edition, or the Blu-ray special edition, like the big 3-disc edition of Sex World, which I actually did want because I'm a huge Kay Parker fan. And that film actually was kind of like, had a good story to it too, and that was the only way you could get like the soft version of it without all the hardcore sex scenes in it. Like you could have both versions on there. So I tried to focus on getting some things that I really liked, and that fit into my style, and will be excited to open up and watch during Christmas time. So I picked out 8, and so those 8 are coming up right now. And first one I grabbed was, of course, Jack Frost, because I knew I was going to get the Jack Frost one. It was a limited edition. Take 2. So yeah, Jack Frost was a limited edition. I really want to get that. Basically, it has a lenticular cover, and that reminds me of like the way that was done back in the day when I was going to the stores like Cormac Video, Video Gallery, kind of my local mom and pop video shops. They had the VHS of Jack Frost. It was kind of the cool lenticular cover. Early Shannon Elizabeth before she did American Pie. A very interesting death for her in that film. It's very fun, very cheesy. It doesn't take itself seriously. It is a great, fun film. And if you can have fun with a movie and you don't take it too seriously, it's a good Christmas horror. Kind of cheesy. You could kind of double feature with Uncle Sam. Remember that movie by William Lustig? I could kind of see this movie kind of like being a double feature type thing. But fun film. I had to get Jack Frost. That lenticular cover. Check it out, guys. It's really, really cool. I grabbed also. Here's the thing. I knew what the limited editions were previously. The page, for some reason, came up, and it showed me the limited edition that were going to be the surprise ones. So one of them was the George Sarno one, which I didn't grab, and I kind of regretting that now because it's a very limited one, only 1,000 copies of it, and a beautiful, beautiful print from what I've seen. It looks like the pictures on the site. And they show like a scene of it. If that's any indication of the print of that film, it is incredible. That one I didn't grab it, but I did grab The Undertaker. I'm a huge Joe Spinell fan. Spinell. I'm so huge I can't get the name right. But you know what I mean. I'm a huge fan of like Maniac. Of course, he was in Godfather. His friend of Stallone's he was actually in Rocky. He was kind of the boss, kind of like I guess mob type boss, you want to say, kind of like the bookie, the guy that he worked for. That he said, I'm not going to do this anymore, and he actually is not the stereotypical like bad guy boss. He actually kind of gives him his blessing, and they just go from there. But it's kind of cool to see him in the film. So if you're only used to seeing him in Maniac, watch Rocky again. You'll see him in that as well. He's a great actor, a very underrated actor, by the way, a great character actor. And he's did like those movies, like those characters that I mentioned are so different from each other. It's just amazing to see the stuff that he could do. And he died like a tragic death. He was a hemophiliac, and unfortunately, later in his years, he was a heavy drinker. Now, apparently, from what I've heard, from what I've read, what happened to him was he was drinking one night, and he cut himself. and whether he fell asleep or passed out, nobody's. I don't think anybody's quite sure. If you do know, definitely put it in the comment section down below because I would love to know. But he bled to death, presumably and hopefully in his sleep, so that he hopefully didn't feel it. He was in pain. That's what we got to hope anyway with something like that. But The Undertaker, it was his last film. There's been a bit of controversy about that online from a couple of people. A couple, yeah, we know who those people are. And because, well, isn't Death Merchant out? Isn't that The Undertaker? Doesn't Code Red have Death Merchant? Yeah, Code Red has Death Merchant, and kudos to Code Red for what they've done with Death Merchant. I personally don't have it. Why don't I have that one? Because that I don't consider it his last film. The Undertaker is a very different beast than Death Merchant. Death Merchant's a bit of a mess. I'm not going to lie to you. It was cut and re-edited, and I'm not a fan. I'm not personally a fan of that edit of the film. It's not what the film was intended to be, and it's not the same plot. It's not the same story. And this is not a knock on Code Red or anything like that. They got their Death Merchant, and that's fantastic. And if you got it, great. I'm glad you got one of his movies in your collection. However, if you don't think that you got the last movie, and so you don't have to get the Undertaker. No, get the Undertaker too. Even if you have, because this is an unedited. This is a more complete cut of the film, and it's a different film. Death Merchant and The Undertaker are two totally different beasts altogether. The plot lines will come apparent that weren't there before that are going to make the movie make a lot more sense to you. You're not going to see any of this stuff put in like him watching for some reason these kind of generic like Bela Lugosi films that make actually no sense to the plot of the film. The movie that he's actually watching will be there, and trust me, it'll make a lot more sense to the film itself. Characters are actually explained more to the fact that that this character is kind of a girl that is kind of interested in, kind of a girlfriend type of thing. It's not explained so much in the other one. It is a huge difference, a massive difference, and apparently it's got a great like remaster. The way Vinegar Syndrome remasters and stuff. Overall, it's got a fantastic remaster. There's a couple minutes that had to be taken from from VHS because it's about as good as they could get it. But it was a must. It was a had to have. So definitely, if you're grabbing something from Vinegar Syndrome and you want to get a limited edition, and you're not going with Jack Frost, which why not? But if you get an extra one too, get them both. The Undertaker and Jack Frost, spot on, two great ones, great slip covers on both those. The Undertaker has like kind of a coffin slip cover, a blood coffin slip cover, which is really cool. And it's a fun film. You can tell that Joe seemed to be having a ball making this film. At least it seems that way from his portrayal. I love they showed like a couple minutes of it. The portrayal looked amazing, and he was just so good. He was just chewing up the scenery like crazy, and that's what I want to see. I hate when I see somebody's last film, and sometimes like they look really sick, and they look like they really can't do, or they shouldn't be making the film. They can't really commit to the role. There's other times when people do commit to the role, like Donald Pleasance with Halloween 6, and then they get treated badly, like Joe Chappelle did to him. And I know I mentioned this a few times, guys, but Donald Pleasance was one of my idols growing up. I loved his films. I loved his character of Sam Loomis. So, Mr. Chappelle, I will not let that go. Ever. So, what else did I pick up? I grabbed Count Dracula's Great Love. Paul Naschy, an amazing actor and a horror icon. And if you haven't seen any Paul Naschy, please do so. He did some great werewolf films. Unfortunately, a lot of them are kind of, when you see the public domain ones, they're cut pieces and stuff. If you're lucky enough to see them uncut, and get like some good editions of them. Go for it. I mean, like a lot of them go for high prices right now. But Count Dracula's Great Love doesn't. It's the one, the regular price ones, and it's like $14 right now on Vinegar Syndrome. It's a cool classic Gothic one. It go right along with, like, say, you got your Universals, you got your Hammers, and you get your Paul Nash. Because here's a guy that grew up loving Universal. He loved those films. He loved, like, he liked the Hammer stuff that was going on around the time that, he was doing this, and he made these films. He did such a great job. Um, he played Dracula, so he was definitely a shorter, stockier Dracula, but he played the romanticized part of it as well. It, I highly recommend it. If you ever get a chance to watch his documentary, The Man Who Made Frankenstein, Saw Frankenstein Cry, uh, I highly recommend the documentary. I don't own it myself, but I have seen it, and it touched me. And it was one of the best documentaries for like an actor that I've ever seen. Paul Naschy definitely deserves more credit than he gets. He is an amazing actor that was very dedicated to his craft and was very dedicated to the horror genre. And us as horror fans should really check out and respect and have some Paul Naschy in our collection. He really is one of those guys that was a great guy, and his story, his life story, is amazing. Count Dracula's Great Love, I consider to be one of his best films, and definitely his best known werewolf film, in my humble opinion. Uh, no, he made a lot of great movies, but for me, I just love this movie here, and it was so great to see. I talked to my dad, who bought this on day one, because my dad's a huge Paul Naschy fan, and it was such a great print and great features. Apparently, my dad couldn't stop raving about it, so it was a no-brainer that I was going to get this one on sale. I couldn't pass it up. Next two I got are two more limited editions. Uh, la- the God, I almost got it wrong there. Horror House on Highway 5. I'm very interested in seeing that. I don't remember if I've ever seen the movie or not, actually. But it just looks so interesting and so fun, so cheesy. And you guys know this. I love B and Z grade movies. I really do. I was talking to my dad tonight, and he said you've got the Nightmare Weekend from Vinegar Syndrome, but how many times are you going to watch Nightmare Weekend? So you're going to watch it once? I said, Dad, I watched it like 3 or 4 times already. These are the type of films that I can really get into, and there comes times when that's just what I'll watch, is these fun, cool, cheesy films. So Horror House on Highway 5, I think that's kind of in my ballpark. If I ever start doing any like serious reviews type stuff, and if I ever get fancy with the editing, then that's the type of stuff I'll be doing. And right now, what one thing's really kind of like stopped me from doing stuff like that is there's a lot of great guys doing that already on here. Guys like Brad who does the Cinema Snob. We got Decker from Decker Shadow. We have there's a few of these guys that do this stuff and do it very well, and I really enjoy watching the videos on it. So that's kind of why I haven't thrown my hat into that ring as of yet, because I kind of like doing this kind of like this gonzo off the cuff type of thing, where we talk here, and I talk, and hopefully you guys can, like, from the comment section down below, or whether you message me some other way, just I love like hearing from you guys, and it's amazing. I'm very, if you guys had Thanksgiving recently there in America, so if there's anything that I'm very thankful for my family, uh, but I'm super, super thankful to have you guys that actually watch this, and thank you so much for that, by the way, because you have no idea, especially when I'm kind of down, uh, how much that picks me up, and how much that means to me. And I got to thank Todd for actually texting me and letting me know about the sale, because like that's 7 o'clock in the morning. It's like I wake up right away. I wake up to this text saying the sale's live, and I've been waiting like a kid for Christmas because I knew that was coming and I couldn't say it to anybody. Uh, Vinegar Syndrome, I hope you want to see this video and to appreciate the fact that I kept my mouth shut and didn't let anybody know what was coming out. So, out of respect. Next up, of course, is Hellbent, was also from the same director that did Horror House on Highway 5. Um, Actually, I'm more excited about Hellbent slightly than I am about Horror House on Highway 5. I want them both. But Hellbent, although Horror House on Highway 5 is a better cover in my opinion, Hellbent just has a unique kind of like story to it that kind of rings to something that I like. And apparently It's got a fairly decent soundtrack as well on the film. Like that's what I've heard. So that'll be interesting to see if there's any like kind of any underground bands or anything that I might know. Next up, of course, was Evils of the Night. Tina Louise was in that one, and of course, one of my favorite actors in this type of stuff, Neville Brand. You guys all know that I love the movie Eaten Alive by Tobe Hooper, and the main reason for that is Neville Brand is he's just so good. And they show one clip, like it's like a 20-something second clip, 20, 30 seconds clip on, if you go on the Vinegar Syndrome website, and it's a Neville Brand clip. And I had to. Uh, he, the Evils of the Night, basically, uh, it's got Neville Brand, and they show him, and it's kind of a comical clip, and he does such a good job, and he's doing this whole, his character is perfect, and I just love him as an actor. He always makes me smile. Even just talking about him makes me smile. I think this may have been his last film or one of his last films, and it doesn't really show. He just does such a good job in it. He's one of those actors again. It doesn't show. Next up, well, the next two that I grabbed were ones that I'm sure all you guys got in your collection because they definitely belong there. And the first one is Christmas Evil. Finally getting the Blu-ray to that. I have the Arrow video, DVD of that one. One of the early ones that they did. And it was time to get an upgrade for Christmas Evil. I'm not sure if it has any new features on there that aren't on the Arrow one. You guys can let me know if you have it. And that's the favorite Christmas horror movie of mine. Like that'll be two Christmas horror movies I got coming now for Christmas this year. And I got Krampus coming, and of course, I got Krampus, and I can't touch it though. And I have Christmas Evil, so on Christmas morning, I'll be able to like look at them. Probably Christmas Eve when we do our Christmas unboxing, or when the kids are over. Usually we do that stuff. I'll be opening up stuff for Christmas, and I'll be watching like Krampus and Christmas Evil again. And I love Christmas Evil because it actually, out of all the Christmas horror movies that are out there, it is definitely the Christmiest Christmas horror movie of all time. If you know the ending of this, I won't spoil it for you. But the ending is definitely, it's truly a Christmas horror movie, and you gotta love like the way that this goes because this goes in such a twisted direction, and at the end you're like, they went there, they actually went there, and that's really cool. Christmas Eve was a favorite of mine, so I'm very excited to have that one on Blu-ray finally. It'd be nice to see what the upgrade's like. I trust Vinegar Syndrome implicitly. I have never seen a bad transfer come from Vinegar Syndrome. If you guys have, you can let me know. But I've never gotten a bad transfer from Vinegar Syndrome. I'm always very impressed. And last but not least is one that's in a lot of bad movie like collectors collections. Raw Force. I had to have Raw Force. It has such a cool cover too, guys. Raw Force is insane. I love this movie. Uh, it's one I've seen many times. It's got the great Cameron Mitchell, and I'm a sucker for guys like Cameron Mitchell. Is such like a dedicated guy to the craft. Anything that he did, no matter how small or how out there or how cheap that it was, he he never seemed to be walking his way through it. He always seemed to be like doing like said, okay, this is my job. He's professional, and he did it. And so it was very cool. Like Cameron Mitchell on this one here, a Raw Force. I could get a kick out of that stuff. You got like zombies and kung fu and exploitation and just a bunch of really cool stuff there. So Raw Force was the eighth and final in my this time around. So there are ones that I really wanted that I couldn't get. I just didn't have the cash for it this time around. And Sugar Cookies was high on the list. I love Lynn Lowry's work, and I really wanted to get the movie Sugar Cookies. I wanted to get Dracula Sucks. That was like a big one from my childhood. And some more of the horror ones. I wanted Runaway Nightmares on DVD. That's one that I definitely will want to pick up next time around. Now, that being said, I should let you guys know as well that there is an Arrow video like a sale. It's a small like sale. It's just got about like 30, 25 or 30 films there. But they have some like for $4.99 and some box sets with some that are lowered in price. I wanted to get like Spider Baby and Pit Stop. I'm a Jack Hill fan, and I don't have either one of those movies from Arrow. But I just couldn't. I got the Vinegar Syndrome stuff, and that took up the money that I got from my mom. So that was it. So I looked at that sale. I'm like, I guess next time. So those were there. They had a couple there that I wanted, but like those stood out. Like Spider Baby, Pit Stop. Those were two movies that I'm definitely going to have in my collection down the road. So definitely check the Arrow sale as well. Uh, grab some stuff for Vinegar Syndrome. They're a small company, and they put a lot of stuff into it. I'm thinking of getting their streaming service again, Exploitation TV, because I kind of want to support like upcoming releases. And I figured that's one of the best ways that I can do it, aside from going into an Indiegogo campaign, which sometimes I just can't afford to do. Uh, the Exploitation TV like has a lot of their stuff on there, a lot of other stuff as well, and it's a streaming service that I highly recommend. My voice is going a little bit, so I'm going to come back. We're going to talk about some more stuff, talk a little bit about Christmas, about movies, about stuff that I want to get in the future. We're going to talk about some very cool stuff. I'm actually going to bring my Christmas list of stuff that I'm not getting this year, but that I put on the list to get hopefully in the future. And maybe you guys can give me some suggestions as well, because what I use my list for when I get my Christmas list is every year on Amazon I'll put up a list, and that list is I'll make it up, and I know that I'm not going to get half the stuff or three-quarters of the stuff from in Christmas time, but I'll say okay, I'll go back to the list and say okay, I don't have this. Uh, can I get this? Or I'll go back and say, oh look, I managed to get these things on the list. So this year is about like 35 or 40 things to talk about, and I'll talk about ones and like why I want them, and what they mean to me. I'm also gonna like do a little. I'm not sure if I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it in defense of this time, but I will be doing some other stuff as well. So stay tuned, and we're gonna talk about more and look at some stuff online. So thank you so much. I'll be right back. My voice is going a little bit, so I got to take a bit of 5 minute break here. It'll seem like no time to you to just drink some tea and recover my voice, and then we'll be right back to talk about ho 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 the exploitation errands Professor Ben Christmas list, the movie guy, the movie professor, the movie guy. I was gonna say movie god. That would be. I wonder if there's somebody that calls themselves movie god. I would like that. That's cool. There, guys. Movie God. Anybody wants to use that one? Go for it. So if there's nobody that's using the Movie God, uh, and you have a ton of movies, and you consider yourself the omnipotent movie God, then definitely there's definitely a cool name. Uh, I definitely cannot use that one. I'm a movie fan. I'm the movie prop. I'm the exploitation guy, and I enjoy that. So I'll be right back, and before my voice totally goes. Next up was, and I'll get Chopping Mall down the road. Hopefully, if it doesn't go to print, or hopefully. Anyway, so next up was on my list series, Psycho 4. As you guys know, I'm a huge fan of the Psycho franchise. I have Psycho 1, 2, and 3. I have the documentary Psycho Legacy. I have like the DVD of Psycho 2, 3, 4, and Bates Motel as well. But I really want to own the Blu-ray of the Psycho 4 at the beginning. I was a really big fan of that film. It's actually a favorite in the franchise. I like it. Definitely ranks out there. I put it above Part 3, to be totally honest with you. It's just one that I really like, and I love the fact that they did like now. You see like Bates Motel, and you got all that stuff in there. But Psycho 4 was like very cool and revolutionary and well acted and cast, in my opinion, in its time. I just really enjoyed it. I love the framework too, where it kind of like goes back and he's talking to this kind of like this radio psychiatrist, and he's saying like what he may have to do, that he may have to like regress. Like he's married now, and finds out he's got a kid on the way. It's just a fantastic film, and I loved it. I'm pretty sure it's Mick Garris, I think, directed that one as well. So next up was one I just put on my list because it's one coming out in the future, and that is The Stewardess 3D. Not high on my list, but definitely if it was a 3D schlock type film, I'll grab it. It's not like high on my list of stuff though. It came from outer space. apparently this one came into like a lot of the Best Buys and basically probably up in Ontario and up in the States, so like mostly I think. Um, and it's kind of a cool 3D 50s like film. I love those type of films. I went to my Best Buy like 5 or 6 times to try and find it. It wasn't there. Um, so hopefully down the road that's one I'll go up and grab. Mono Macabre is a company that I really like. They got a new Blu-ray out called Night Has a Thousand Desires, and it's Lena Romay. I'm a huge Lena Romay fan, so that's like a no-brainer for me. And one that I definitely want to grab in the near future. A new edition of Henry Portrait of a Serial Killer 30th anniversary, and I used to have that on DVD. I no longer own it, so it'd be fantastic to upgrade once it comes out to the Blu-ray. Henry, I do like that film, and Michael Rooker did an amazing job on it. Just incredible filmer. There's other ones like there's a lot of Scream Factory that I missed out on that I don't have, so I put some of them on my list as well. So I have the House That Screamed. I like Lily Palmer, so it'll be interesting like to see what that film's like. I don't remember it very well. Phantasm Remaster. You guys know I'm a huge Phantasm fan. I've got the Anchor Bay like edition of the Phantasm on DVD. I don't have a Blu-ray of Phantasm, so it'd be really cool to see the remaster. I hear it's fantastic. The Exorcist 3 Collector's Edition. I know everybody's got that one, but guys lately haven't been able to get anything. That's going to be high on the list to get, along with Carrie and Child's Play. Again, yeah, guys, I'm way behind. How far am I behind? The Sentinel is on my list, and it's a very cool, and Legacy as well is on my list of things to get, as well as Ghost Town and I'm Madman. So there's a few Scream Factories there, and Village of the Damned, and the upcoming Dead Time Stories because I really like that one. I Drink Your Blood. I'd love to get that one. It's like what the hypodermic needle and everything. It's really cool. God, there's so much out there. The Blu-ray Salem's Lot will be awesome. I got the old like Snapper Case DVD. I'm very proud to have that. But it'll be amazing to have Salem's Lot on Blu-ray. Larry the White Worm is coming up. I want that one. Chud, and of course Bud the Chud from Vestron. Vestron! Cat in the Brain. Grinders releasing one. One of the Grinders releasing one I want the most is Cat in the Brain, actually, because the features on it are freaking amazing. Yeah, there's Bud the Chud. Return of the Living Dead 3. Everybody's getting that one. That's already gone up to almost $50 here, so I just can't. The Initiation is one of my favorite slasher films of all time. I really do love that slasher film. I know it's saying a lot, but I really do. I think that's a really quality slasher film. I love the twist to it. Rocks, and Daphne Zuniga does a great job. Good. Blood Diner, of course, and Waxworks 1 and 2 are huge movies for me. I love those films. Just Desserts is a no-brainer. I am a big fan of Creepshow. Not only that, but I got to meet and spend a bit of time with Tom Savini. And what a great guy, to be totally honest. What an awesome guy to like just talk to. And he was very humble and very smart. Very like he talked. And we're like he really talked. And it was really cool to be able to see that. And to get like Just Desserts, which has a lot of Tom Savini in there because he did the special effects for that. And he's really proud of that because he was doing a lot of like of kind of like the gore stuff, and he wanted to do some of the monster stuff. He wanted to do some of the kind of the Dick Smith style, the kind of the Rob Bottin, all that kind of style stuff, and he got to do that. Fluff with the character Fluffy, of course, and he got to do some really cool effects on the Creepshow, different than stuff that he'd done before. And on that Creepshow Blu-ray actually has the this that Fangoria put out, this kind of Tom Savini documentary, and it's like in about an hour and so long. It's really cool, like basically showing like the makeup work they did back in the day, young Tom Savini, and I love to have that. It's Tom Savini is someone that's near and dear to my heart when it comes to like he was a rock star of makeup effects, and to have been able to meet him and actually see things go well and see that he actually is a great guy and gave up a lot to go to the spotlight for a while. He's got a documentary that was done about his life that is coming out. Yeah, don't think it's out there yet, but I've seen it on when I went to the Montreal Comic Con a few years back. They gave like a preview of the documentary. They showed it early, and there's more. They said they were going to do more editing on it as well. But it was for me, it was like spot on. It was a fantastic documentary. So when that comes out, guys, definitely pick it up. Uh, Creepshow 2 limited edition Blu-ray from Arrow. I'm a huge Creepshow fan. I love the Creepshow, the first two Creepshows, Creepshow 1 and 2. I have the 88 Films edition of Creepshow 2, which is amazing. And will I buy it again? Of course. I love the film. There'll be more features. There are different features. Uh, I'll make myself the Autumn Creepshow edition with the 88 Films edition, which I do think everybody should have, and the Arrow edition. I don't think people should like, okay, I want to get this one. I'm going to get rid of this one. No. If you're a really big fan of this movie and you're getting a limited edition one and you already have the other one, keep it. They both have their own like strengths. That's my opinion anyway. That's what I do. Manhunter and Nightmares, of course, are two Scream Factories that I really want to get into my collection. As you guys know, I'm a big Nightmares fan. I saw it in theater. Was it theater or was it on like a channel? I can't remember right now. I was younger, and I actually put two books in there. I'm a big fan of Troy Howard and Splendid Visions, Lucia Fulci and his films, and So Deadly Soberverse, 50 years of Italian giallo films are high on my list. As are Stephen Thrower's books as well. Both Troy Haworth and Stephen Thrower, two writers. I really wish that I have some of their books in my collection. So that's my list so far. That's my kind of Christmas year-long wish list. I guess my wish list is the best way to put it. It's rather than Christmas, it's kind of a wish list, movie, media type wish list. Uh, so what do you think? Pretty good list so far. Do you think there are things I should have added to there? I have like an animation list as well, where basically the stuff that I need to get the from to complete my Looney Tunes collection. And PD asked me when I'm going to be doing that video. So that video is coming up, PD. I will still be doing the one basically where I'm talking about collecting Looney Tunes. I'm actually a big fan, and I'm actually probably going to watch some of that after this. I'm probably going to watch that, and probably I'm looking at a rare one, so probably either going to be like Waves of Lust or maybe one of the Fernando de Leo ones from the Volume 1 box set. So that's where I'm going to be going now and watching in a few seconds. So guys, thank you so much for watching this. It's actually shorter than I intended to be, but that's because my voice is going. I had intended to talk about a bit more exploitation stuff, and a couple more segments that I wanted to put in here. I apologize for making this one of my shorter ones, but I like to make like longer podcasts, usually about an hour or so. It's kind of the sweet spot for me, hour to hour and a half, because I know that a lot of people are probably not watching my face when they're doing this. To probably like put it on in the background, listen to it type of thing, kind of like what I do on much like some of the when I listen to some of the podcasts I listen to. You know, guys like Screamcasts or Shockwaves. Uh, and you know, there's so many cool podcasts out there. This one called the Horrorcast. There's a bunch of like really cool podcasts I'm going to do a video one of these days. I'm talking about like the horror podcasts that I listen to, so you guys can like get an idea of some of the stuff that that definitely should be checked out. So there are so many good like stuff that I wanted to do a shout out on this one here as well, but I'll do that on my next video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I am the movie professor. I am Exploitation Aaron, and I'm losing my voice, so I need to get some tea. It is definitely time for it's exploitation time, and it's time for tea. Hi there, and it's going to be a very short after credit sequence, but I want to thank you guys for staying for it and being one of the people that knew that there's an after credit sequence. That means you've been around for a while. If you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps my channel out a lot, and I really appreciate it. I have managed to reach 1,300, and I want to thank you guys for that. I'm slow going, getting up there with, but I appreciate every last one of you guys, and I really appreciate it when you like the video, when you share, when you make a comment. That means a lot to me. I just wanted to say, I want to give like kind of a shout out to like a site here, Mondo Digital does reviews on their site, and if you want to see
Like, you want to know more about the films, some of the films that I talked about. If you want to see some like decent or kind of cool reviews on some of these here, get some pictures and stuff like that, I recommend checking out Mondo Digital. You have some really cool stuff on there. If you want to know about the Jack Frost Blu-ray that's coming out from Vinegar Syndrome, or All the Sins of Sodom, which is the Joe Sarno one, or if you want to know about the Undertaker or the upcoming Black Christmas or any of that stuff, definitely go check out Mondo Digital. Great site. I've been reading them a lot recently, so I wanted to give them a shout out. Uh, Thank you guys for watching. I'm gonna go probably put on some stuff, and I'll probably read a little bit of this first, and then I'm gonna put on my one of my movies, or maybe watch a little like Looney Tunes, the Buffer cartoon, then I'll put on the movie and have some fun with it. So it's gonna be a long night for me, I think. Tonight, by the way, I'll just give you a little quick review of what I watched tonight. Well, last night I watched John Wick. If you're on my Instagram, which definitely feel free to follow me on Instagram. And my Instagram name, I'm gonna find out for you, because definitely feel free to follow me on there. I got 22 likes on that. Isn't that awesome? It is awesome, actually. It's Charmed 007, Charmed 007, all together, no capitals. If you want to follow me on Instagram, definitely follow me there. Uh, that's where you'll see a lot of like different pictures, and you'll even get to see young me. Uh, and You want to see young me when I graduated? It's kind of a funny pic, to be honest with you. Uh, so this is the young me with a lot more hair, very 80s Rick Ocasek glasses, and yeah, that's me when I was young. So last night I got in the mood to finally like sit back and watch John Wick. Uh, I hadn't I hadn't seen the movie all the way through, and the John Wick 2 was coming out, so I thought it was about time to go like to really kind of dive in and watch the film. I loved it. I really really like John Wick. I highly recommend it. So this morning came and wanted to watch some more Keanu Reeves. Uh, I had like a digital copy, but I don't have the actual physical copy of Knock Knock. So I checked that out. Loved Knock Knock. Actually, it was divisive among some people, but I had a lot of fun with it. I had seen Death Game before with Sandra Locke and I think it's Colleen Camp. She's actually in the new one, Knock Knock. Actually, I'm pretty sure it's her in the new one. So playing she plays the. It looks like her. I gotta go back and check. Uh, yeah, actually, let's find out now because I'm very very curious to see if that's her, because I could swear that it's the same girl. She's older now, but she, that she had a part in the film. So obviously I don't remember. I just watched it today. Let's look at all the cast. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm probably wrong. She has a small role. Yeah, it is her. Yeah, she played Vivian in that, and of course she was in the original film, which is Death Game. Now, how was Death Game like as compared to Knock Knock? Now, obviously in Death Game, you got the classics. You got Sonderlock, you got Colin Camp, but how do I put this? Yeah, she was down in Death Game. The lead actor who went on, he would do uh, better stuff. Uh, yeah, I was not the biggest fan of his portrayal in Death Game. I'm not gonna lie to you. Uh, I think it's just the way that it was written and done. But Keanu Reeves' character in Knock Knock is a much more sympathetic character than the character that Seymour Kessel plays in Death Game. You get a better like grasp of the struggle that that Keanu Reeves goes through, and to not be with these women, and to the point where you're like, oh my God, look at these two girls. I know, but I know it's wrong, but this this is movie world logic, you know. But man, did it was it was a ride. I liked it. I really liked the movie. It's not for everybody, but I did like Knock Knock. I found it a lot of fun, and was a hell of a ride. I thought the actors were really good in the film. I thought Eli Roth did a good job directing it, and I just had a lot of fun with it. I enjoyed the movie. I really enjoyed John Wick. That's one I can recommend. Like it's like heavy violence, but still, it's a cool, very '80s action flick. Uh, Knock Knock's not for everybody. There's more of like there's a strong sexual like content into Knock Knock. We should know that going into it. Same as Death Game. If you've seen Death Game before, then you know that there's a strong sexual content in Death Game as well. That because that is the type of story that it's telling, and it's not so much an exploitations. Well, I guess there is exploitation, but no, it's not. It's there. There's there for a reason. It's not just there. It actually something that like moves the plot along. It has a reason and a purpose. So there we go. So this is a longer after credit sequence than I sometimes do. Thank you so much for watching. For right now, I'm going to drink this tea before it gets cold. Check out Mondo Digital. Check out John Wick. If you like the movies like Knock Knock, it's definitely worth checking out. Thanks for watching, and for me right now, it's time for tea.